Tallulah Bankhead. In a Hollywood obsessed with appearances, Tallulah Bankhead confounded her peers with a habit few could ignore. She famously refused to wear underwear. Her disregard for convention became a real issue during the 1943 filming of Alfred Hitchcock's Lifeboat. According to crew members, Bankhead's free-spirited attire forced cinematographer Glenn MacWilliams to adjust lighting and camera angles with unusual care, though no official records confirm production delays. Folklore maintains that Hitchcock, ever the wit, remarked, "I don't know whether it's for art or for indecency, but that's Tallulah being Tallulah," though historians caution the quote remains unverified. Bankhead's flair for scandal did not stop there. Multiple biographers recount an incident where she allegedly lifted her skirt in front of a wardrobe assistant, daring anyone to question her choices. As she often quipped, "I'm as pure as the driven slush," a line that became her personal brand of rebellion. Despite the uproar, Bankhead's talent was undeniable. She earned critical acclaim for her role as Regina Giddens in The Little Foxes on Broadway in 1939, with the New York Times praising her magnetic stage presence, although no official award from the New York Drama Critics Circle was recorded for this performance. Today, some scholars suggest her antics were more than mere shock tactics, interpreting them as an early, fearless defiance of restrictive gender norms. Whatever the motive, during her prime, Bankhead's mix of audacity and artistry made her a force Hollywood simply could not ignore. Salvador Dali. In the early 1960s, Salvador Dali, already a surrealist icon, stunned Parisians by strolling through the city with a full-grown anteater on a leash. Photographs captured the bizarre parade outside the Paris metro, igniting a media frenzy. According to biographer Ian Gibson, critics interpreted the anteater as a symbol of Dali's rejection of rationality, a cornerstone of surrealist philosophy. However, no direct statement from Dali confirms this. Anecdotes imply that Dali simply enjoyed bewildering the public, treating reality itself as his canvas. This was hardly a one-time spectacle. In 1955, Dali arrived at a Madrid lecture in a Rolls-Royce overflowing with cauliflower heads, declaring, "Cauliflowers are logarithmic and therefore surreal." Some hypothesized he chose cauliflowers for their fractal patterns, aligning with his obsession with mathematics and irrational beauty. Public reaction swung wildly. Some hailed him as a genius, others dismissed him as a publicity hound. Art historian Don Ades argues that Dali deliberately blurred the line between life and performance art, turning every appearance into a surrealist event. Despite the controversy, Dali's antics only amplified his fame, securing collaborations with major brands, filmmakers, and even Walt Disney during the 1940s. Whether misunderstood provocateur or master self-promoter, Dali's bizarre habits left an indelible mark on both art and pop culture. James Dean. James Dean's stubborn refusal to wash his jeans during the filming of Rebel Without a Cause in 1955 has long stirred both admiration and confusion. Biographical accounts like David Dalton's James Dean, the Mutant King, suggest Dean deliberately wore the same pair of Levi's for weeks to maintain his character's gritty realism. However, no direct interviews or production notes confirm this intent, leaving room for speculation. Hollywood lore claims co-stars Natalie Wood and Sal Mineo joked about the lingering odor, though no first-hand quotes have surfaced to verify the chatter. Director Nicholas Ray, known for embracing Dean's intense methods, reportedly allowed the habit, even as crew members grumbled behind the scenes. Cultural analysts later credited Dean's rugged style, jeans, white t-shirt, leather jacket, with helping to transform denim into a global symbol of youthful rebellion. Levi Strauss & Company has embraced this legacy in marketing retrospectives, though formal statements from the era remain elusive. Some dare to guess that Dean's extreme dedication to authenticity, even at the cost of basic hygiene, mirrored a deeper pattern of self-destructive intensity that shadowed his meteoric rise and tragic death in a car accident on September 30th, 1955, but such interpretations remain speculative. Howard Hughes. Howard Hughes, once the golden boy of Hollywood and aviation, astonished the world with habits that seemed stranger than fiction. By the late 1940s, his fear of germs spiraled into what many called legendary extremes. According to biographer Donald L. Barlett, Hughes ordered aides to use tissues to handle everything he might touch, from doorknobs to telephones. Speculation abounds that he even wore tissue boxes on his feet to avoid floor germs, a claim widely reported by staff but never backed by direct evidence. In a particularly surreal chapter, Hughes reportedly barricaded himself inside a darkened screening room at the Desert Inn in Las Vegas for nearly 4 months. Multiple sources, including Howard Hughes' The Untold Story, 1993, recount that he refused to bathe, cut his hair, or trim his nails during this period. Anecdotes hint that he survived almost entirely on chocolate bars and milk, though this remains anecdotal. Despite his isolation, Hughes maintained control of RKO Pictures from 1948 to 1955, issuing orders with a precision that left his executives bewildered. Some historians and mental health professionals speculate that undiagnosed obsessive-compulsive disorder fueled his behavior, though no official diagnosis was ever made during his lifetime. Whatever the cause, Hughes' descent into reclusion turned him from a dazzling icon into one of the most perplexing figures of mid-century celebrity culture. Cary Grant. In the polished world of 1950s Hollywood, Cary Grant, one of the era's most iconic leading men, harbored a fascination that left many mystified: hypnosis. While Grant's interest in psychotherapy is well documented, including over 100 LSD-assisted therapy sessions beginning in the late 1950s, his exploration of hypnosis remains less precisely chronicled. Biographers suggest he viewed these methods as tools for unlocking the subconscious mind, aiming to confront emotional scars from a turbulent childhood. Although no direct quotes from Grant explicitly link hypnosis to his personal transformation, interviews hint at his broader quest for inner peace. Hollywood, still wary of mental health discussions at the time, by most accounts greeted his unconventional pursuits with confusion and quiet skepticism. Some dare to guess that Grant's serene persona and youthful appearance into his 60s owed something to these early mental wellness practices, though no scientific proof backs such claims. Regardless, Grant's quiet devotion to self-exploration stood out in an industry more focused on surface than substance, making his habits as puzzling as they were ahead of their time. Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra's voice could command a room, but behind the swagger was a fixation that perplexed even his closest friends. According to biographer James Kaplan in his 2010 book Frank the Voice, Sinatra demanded fresh sheets at every hotel, no exceptions. Some accounts claim he even traveled with his own linens to guarantee the quality. Hotel staff reportedly faced his wrath if a bed wasn't perfectly made, and if Sinatra so much as sat on it, he allegedly insisted it be remade. Although no direct quotes survive, Rat Pack insiders often joked about his near-religious devotion to a pristine bed. Whispers persist, unverified of course, that he once fired personal staff over a poorly tucked corner. In an era when many celebrities embraced chaos, Sinatra's obsession with spotless sleeping arrangements stood out, offering a sharp contrast to his hard-partying public persona. Perfection, it seems, was non-negotiable, even between the sheets. Clark Gable as Rhett Butler. By the late 1930s, Clark Gable reigned as Hollywood royalty, yet a deeply personal insecurity lingered just out of frame. Gable wore a full set of dentures, the result of a severe gum infection in his early 30s, allegedly fueled by heavy smoking and poor dental care, according to biographer Warren G. Harris. A few cinema experts argue that Gable's intense concern over his dentures led him to favor certain camera angles and lighting, although direct evidence remains elusive. Rumor has it that between takes on Gone with the Wind, director Victor Fleming would quietly reassure Gable that his smile looked natural, calming the actor's nerves. Crew members, according to unverified accounts, even whispered jokes about Gable's near-obsessive habit of polishing his dentures between scenes. Although documented proof remains elusive, the rumors hint at a striking irony. The man who epitomized effortless charm on screen was, in reality, battling a hidden fear that a single close-up could betray him. Some commentators have speculated that this underlying tension subtly colored Gable's portrayal of Rhett Butler, adding unexpected layers to a character otherwise known for unshakable confidence. Whether coincidence or subconscious influence, Gable's performance helped Gone with the Wind dominate the 1940 Academy Awards, taking home 8 competitive Oscars, including Best Picture. Marilyn Monroe. In September of 1954, Marilyn Monroe filmed what would become one of the most emblematic scenes in movie history, standing over a subway grate for the 7-year itch. The shoot stretched over several hours, with numerous retakes due to technical glitches and an enthusiastic crowd that refused to quiet down. Yet behind the glamour, a peculiar habit emerged. Crew members remembered Monroe standing almost motionless between takes, as if she had become a living statue. Some joked she had turned into a mannequin, though no official set logs verify these observations. Director Billy Wilder later suggested Monroe's intense stillness arose from a fear that any movement might disturb the delicate drape of her dress. Cinematographer Milton R. Krasner also commented on her unwavering attention to detail on set. Speculation echoes that Monroe's rigid posture exasperated some crew members, slowing production and prompting muted complaints behind the scenes. However, Donald Spoto's biography underscores Monroe's deep concern about preserving her modesty during filming, implying that her behavior was less about eccentricity and more about control. Whether calculated or simply idiosyncratic, Monroe's unusual on-set ritual contributed another dimension to her mystique, and helped create a moment that remains etched into pop culture history. Errol Flynn. In the glittering chaos of 1930s Hollywood, Errol Flynn stood out, not just for swashbuckling on screen, but for a bizarre personal quirk that left even seasoned partygoers baffled. According to Flynn's own 1959 autobiography, My Wicked, Wicked Ways, and various biographical accounts, he was rumored to have kept a full-size coffin in his Mulholland Drive estate. Anecdotes hint that Flynn sometimes even slept in it, claiming it reminded him that life was fleeting and should be lived with reckless abandon. Though no authenticated photographs or first-hand news reports confirm the nightly coffin ritual, the story aligns with Flynn's larger-than-life reputation. Friends like actor David Niven, who chronicled the era in his 1971 memoir The Moon's a Balloon, described Flynn's antics as both outrageous and oddly magnetic, though he stopped short of confirming the coffin tales. Some guests at Flynn's notorious parties guessed the coffin was nothing more than a theatrical prop, a cheeky nod to his flair for drama. Others dared to speculate it revealed deeper fears masked by bravado. At the peak of his fame during the late 1930s and early 1940s, Flynn's eccentricities, heavy drinking, and frequent legal troubles kept Warner Brothers executives in a constant state of damage control. Despite, or perhaps because of, his chaotic personal life, Flynn remained one of the studio's most bankable stars, headlining hits like Captain Blood in 1935, The Adventures of Robin Hood in 1938, and The Seahawk in 1940. Today, the coffin rumor lingers as a strange, unforgettable footnote to a career that was anything but ordinary. Greta Garbo. In the glittering chaos of 1930s Hollywood, Greta Garbo made a move that left the industry confounded. She disappeared from public life without warning. Dubbed the Swedish Sphinx, Garbo famously refused interviews, skipped film premieres, and even declined to attend the ceremony honoring her with an Academy Award in 1955. Instead of soaking up the spotlight, she became known for slipping out of back doors and dodging cameras, a habit so consistent it practically became her trademark. According to biographer Barry Paris, Garbo once clarified, "I never said I wanted to be alone. I only said I wanted to be left alone." A subtle but telling distinction. After starring in hits like Grand Hotel in 1932 and Camille in 1936, she abruptly retired at age 36 following the release of Two-Faced Woman in 1941. No farewell tour, no press conference, nothing. In New York City, where she lived for decades, Garbo reportedly walked miles daily, often in oversized sunglasses to avoid recognition. Tales circulate that her withdrawal was spurred by exhaustion with Hollywood's relentless demands, though Garbo herself never publicly explained her decision. Ironically, the more she evaded fame, the more the public became fascinated, cementing her as the ultimate enigma of the Golden Age. Mae West. By the early 1930s, Mae West had already shattered Hollywood norms with a swagger few dared to match. While most actors clung to studio scripts, West insisted on writing or rewriting her own lines, convinced that only she could deliver the razor-sharp double entendres that became her trademark. Paramount executives, stunned by the runaway success of She Done Him Wrong, which premiered in January 1933 and grossed between $2 million and $2.2 million, apparently stopped trying to control her creative output. Adjusted for inflation, that would be roughly $45 million today. Her dominance extended beyond the script. Standing just over 5 feet tall, West famously wore towering platform heels, often forcing male co-stars to stand on hidden boxes so they would appear taller than her on screen. Some actors allegedly grumbled about the arrangement, but few dared to challenge her iron grip on set dynamics. Costume rumors swirl around West's extreme dedication to her image. According to some accounts, her corsets were so tightly laced that she sometimes had to be sewn into her gowns, a claim often linked to costume designer Edith Head, though direct confirmation remains elusive. Either way, the result was an exaggerated hourglass figure that became instantly recognizable. Preparation was another of West's peculiar habits. She is said to have rehearsed her lines in front of full-length mirrors, meticulously perfecting the slow, sultry drawl that made her a pop culture legend. As West is said to have put it, she studied herself like an artist studies a canvas. Even the iron hand of the Hays Code, enforced starting in mid-1934, could not tame her. Films like Klondike Annie in 1936 faced heavy censorship, but West remained unapologetic, refusing to dilute her suggestive humor. As critic Molly Haskell observed, West subverted the very system that tried to contain her, cementing a legacy that still defies easy categorization. Bette Davis. By the time Bette Davis stepped onto the set of All About Eve in 1950, her reputation for fierce precision was already cemented. Her obsession with lighting became a quiet battleground. While Davis did not officially override cinematographer Milton Krasner, she was known to advocate firmly for setups that flattered her performance. Biographer Ed Seekov noted that Davis considered lighting nearly as vital as the dialogue itself. Rumors swirl that she even carried a compact mirror to double-check shadows between takes, though no official source confirms it. As for her on-screen smoking, Davis's preference for Lucky Strike cigarettes was well known off-camera, stirring speculation that she pushed for them in the film to better match Margot Channing's brittle edge, though documentation is thin. Another persistent story claims Davis insisted the champagne on set be actual champagne, asserting that the taste and heft would subtly heighten her portrayal, a detail film historians debate to this day. Tensions with director Joseph L. Mankiewicz were real, although tales of explosive arguments over set decorations, like a misplaced living room chair, remain largely anecdotal. Still, few deny that Davis's tireless pursuit of authenticity helped carve out a new archetype, the complicated, commanding woman at the center of the story, long before Hollywood was ready to embrace her. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like and comment. Also consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell to get notified of our new videos each week. Thanks for watching.